to Joey, Chris, and Gabe, Master of the Universe Horror Podcast, which, by the way, rocks. My name is Suzanne Snyder, and you guys need to listen to this podcast. Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone, to Master of the Universe podcast, episode 59, and today we're doing 2002's Halloween Resurrection with the old Christopher J. Man and the man-beast Gabe. We were talking comics this week, so maybe we'll do a comic section here at some point. But anyway, Halloween Resurrection, Christopher J., son of a bitch! How many times have you seen this one? Like twice, 3 times maybe?
Yeah, I'd say 3 times, between like last fall or whatever the hell, and then 2 times this week, so yeah.
And has your opinion changed any bit, dude?
Yeah. Oddly enough, I actually do like it a little bit better than I did back in the fall. Like, I was just completely rolling my eyes at it back in the fall, but now here it's like, I get it now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my final analysis of it, but I get it a little bit better now.
I get you. Now, Gabe, I know you like me, dude, a horror guy. I guess same question. Like, has your opinion changed on Halloween Resurrection? Watching it, I'm sure you watched it when it came out, or rented it, and compared to now.
Oh, definitely. I saw it the first day it came out. I rented it, and well, just more recently I've watched it. But yeah, my opinion definitely has changed on this movie. From the first time that I actually watched it, I don't know, it just kind of left me a little bit disappointed. It just didn't do anything for me. The only highlight out of this whole movie that it really kind of, that I'm really consistent on, that I actually, from back then even to now, is just the actors in this movie, and one in particular, and I've mentioned this before, was Busta Rhymes.
I got you all in check.
He takes this whole movie away. You don't even care about Michael Myers in the damn movie anymore. Mm-hmm. It should have been Busta Rhymes' Resurrection or something. It should have been just this whole movie is just him, really. He's hilarious. He's goofy, and he just kind of. If you've seen any of his old music videos, or if you've kept up with him, what his I think what the other girl too was in there. What's her name? Tyra Banks.
Oh yeah.
She's in there, and there's a whole bunch of other characters, but really, like, your eyes don't really widen up until Busta Rhymes actually walks in, because you're expecting him to say something like, pretty aggressive, pretty demanding. Like, he comes in, he's taking charge, he's the boss. And so pretty much this movie is, it's not that great overall. Michael Myers is like, it's so-so. There's questions in it. That there's things that you're just questioning yourself about this damn movie. Why the hell did I even sit through this? Oh, well, it wasn't a total loss. I got to see, Busta Rhymes in it, I guess.
Hey, G-Money, can I cut in for a second here?
Yeah, go for it.
What are you gonna do one day when Gabe goes, fuck no, you're not gonna do that. Not on my podcast. What
I'm just gonna shrink in the corner and be like, yes sir, I'm sorry. Am I the only one that got a chuckle out of fucking Busta Rhymes' character name being Freddy?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, that was goofy as hell.
Speaking of that, it's like we are doing these back to back. So tonight we are doing, but it'll be, of course, on separate episodes. So they're not going to be on the same episode. But we're doing Slumber Party Massacre 2, And we're laughing about the same thing on how that one's got all the names, so it's just coincidence that we're doing that, and there's like a lot of working names here, dude. They're like, why don't we call him Freddy? And they do that Chris chuckle.
Or fucking on Nightmare 4, the fucking dog's name is Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, this one for me, it definitely changed for we'll talk about it in more detail, but we're gonna get to news. But for me, it was I couldn't stand this movie. Like growing up, I was just like, oh, this is and like I couldn't even like watch it because it was so dumb. I was like watching it like, what the fuck is all this shit? And then this time around, like y'all are saying, oh yeah, the Busta Rhymes thing, and then like going back, I remember a lot of movies were like this, like the way they have like the found footage, they have the people like before they're going out there, they're being like interviewed, they're doing the show thing, and like just the bad acting in general is like like, oh, this is I remember these times, so it had that charm to it. But is there any before, like I said, before we get way into it, some scenes and deaths and all that and our rankings for the motherfucker, Gabe, is there anything going on in the horror community? You're always sending us the news, dude, but for people out there that are not wise to the business like you.
Oh no, there's tons of things out there. As of lately, there's the news has been like jumping back and forth. It's been pretty damn great. Some things I'm only gonna mention a few though, but like there's a new Predator movie coming out. What's great? You know what's great about this damn movie, about another Predator movie? Not just for those sci-fi, type of people that love aliens, love Predator, they just like that whole idea. But what's great about this movie that's going to be coming out is that it's going to be an origin story. They're going to show you how it began, how it started. It's going to be called Predator Skulls. Damn. And apparently, what they were saying about this damn movie, John Davis and John Fox, the producers for this movie, said that this is going to take place, back in like the 1800s. Pretty much, this is like back then when Native Americans and the settlers came and took away the whole land and all this. So they're really kind of going back like several, at least like 100 years or so. Just to go ahead and they're going to establish like the predators and their incoming, and kind of see where they go on with that. So I mean that's honestly, if you love the whole sci-fi deal, I mean this movie's going to be pretty great. This is something to kind of keep tabs on.
G-Mon, did I hear you right that what's going to happen is they're going to implant predators into each Native American tribe?
No, this is going to be back then when like Native Americans and the the settlers and all that, when they were taking lands and stuff. So the predators are going to come in, and they're just going to implement them somewhere in that process. I guess this is where they got the idea that predators are gods or something like that, or it's a whole kind of. It's going to be a whole pilgrims and Native Americans. So it's not going to
be Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer where the fucking Confederate...
No,
Well, I think for the settlers, it was probably like the 15 or 1600s. Well, yeah, it was like something like that, right? Yeah, was it 14? Is it 1492, right? So there you go.
Jamestown Colony, 1607.
There you go. Okay, you know what? That's from Predator 2. From now, I think it's Predator 2. I know...
when he had the gun, right?
Exactly. He tosses him that gun, and it has somebody's name, and it's like you could tell it's those old school, one shot. That's how you got. So, now that you're saying all that, I'm like, oh, that's where they're trying to make the whole like comeback to where, I guess this is where it all started. That is going to be pretty cool. It looks good on paper, but yeah, I'm already interested to see. I forget the name that's on the gun, but he gives it to Danny. Is it Danny Glover? Danny Glover's character.
Yeah, Danny Glover. Oh yeah, he was a badass too. I guess as far as like some other news, if you're a fan of Walking Dead, if anybody out there is actually keeping up with that series, so they're making a spin-off movies or spin-off TV shows for The Walking Dead. So one of them in particular that a lot of people have actually said that they wanted was that they wanted Daryl and Carol to have their own spin-off thing. They were saying like, oh, and during the TV show, if you remember those characters, Daryl was like the badass on the motorcycle, pretty much shooting everybody. He doesn't really use guns. He uses that bow and arrow. And then Carol was one of the original cast members from season 1 who had an abusive husband, but she really toughened up throughout the series, and she became more of a loner and more of a badass, I guess, on her own. Well, they're actually going to have their own spin-off series with just them two, and that's actually supposed to come out in 2023. So for any of those Walking Dead, fans out there, I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting to note.
Yeah, yeah. I never watched any of them, but people have always talked about it. I remember working in an office way back when, and people were like, "Oh, Walking Dead season whatever's coming out." And I was like, "Okay, calm down."
yeah, definitely. I mean, that was like that was like Games of Thrones. That was Walking Dead. I mean, those are water cooler type of shows and stuff like that. Pretty much everyone gathers around the water cooler in the office, and they're all like, "Hey, did you check out that cool new show that came out last night?" Or blah blah blah, or the newest episode of whatever. I mean, that was pretty much the talk of the town. I remember I goofed up once, and I kick myself in the butt sometimes. But I've actually saw that comic when it first came out, and it was on the shelf, number 1 of The Walking Dead, and I was like, it's just another damn zombie book. What's so impressive about that? I don't care. I passed up on it. Well, during the height of The Walking Dead and its career, I'm not sure about the popularity now, but at that point, when everybody was clamoring for that damn number 1 comic, that comic was going for 2,000 and up, and for a perfect grade too. And I was like, geez, man, it pisses me off because I kind of felt like I should have bought it.
It happens. Like I was saying the last time, I had like a bunch of comics, and even like all my NES stuff, and I just remember like just throwing it away, like, because it was like I was like 14, and I was like, oh, I'm playing the 64 now, and it's like I don't even use this junk, and just real dumbass shit, and throwing away toys that are, I'm like, I'm collecting the toys now and shit. So it's always, it's funny, man.
Oh, definitely. There was like a lot of all that older stuff is now all of a sudden it's coming back, or it's popular in some way. If you ever gone to like heavy metal or rock concerts or stuff like that, even just those T-shirts are actually worth bucks. So if you've been to like a Metallica concert, you've been to a Slayer concert, any one of those, world tour shirts, or just even just around the country and stuff, those T-shirts are actually worth like a shitload of money. Even if it's already been worn and shit, $200 to $300, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I wish I would have kept a lot of mine. I threw them out once they started getting holes and shit in it.
Yeah, no, I had a shit ton growing up, so I don't have any, like, I hardly have any rock shirts. I have a few, but yeah, like I had bags full, and I remember just throwing them out like, I'm not gonna wear this, but fuck.
You threw out like thousands of dollars probably.
Yeah, all these fucking. I've always been like that. Like Chris knows, like I'll just start getting rid of shit. Like, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't, because you want to like have like a fresh start or whatever is going on. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna clean up and get rid of all this shit that I don't need. It's just taking up space. So
yeah,
yeah.
As far as like last piece of news that I actually have, and I've mentioned this to you all. I was pretty excited about it, but apparently Universal Pictures has actually purchased, and I guess they secured like the rights for The Exorcist.
Oh,
so that's coming back. They're going to do it's going to be a trilogy movie, and it's going to be a remake. So I understand a lot of people are probably upset by this, or they don't like remakes. But honestly, I think it gives like a fresh new look on new things out there. I mean, if you don't want to watch the new stuff, I mean, don't watch it. But complaining ain't gonna stop the movie from coming out either. But
don't tell Jason that.
Oh, I know he's gonna. I bet you, if he's listening to this, he's probably yelling right now. That's completely wrong.
Yeah,
completely wrong.
Yeah, he's he's like those sports analysts in the morning, dude. He's like, are you insane? Are you nuts? No, exactly like you said. If you don't want to watch it, or you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, I don't like, there was a point where I loved the Marvel movies, and then all of a sudden they kind of got dumb. So I just like, whatever. I don't even pay attention. I'm about those people that, like, oh, they're making it. Like, if you don't like it, like, don't watch it. Who gives a fuck? Like, I like them up to a point that you could tell they changed their style a little bit. But the same thing with like horror movies. It's like horror movies are completely different than like if there's like a series going on to where like they're changing it, blah blah blah, whatever. But this shit, it's like you don't know which film company's gonna come up with these ideas. Like I loved it, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna fuck this up, and like that was one of those movies to where I was like, you know what, I kind of started telling myself I would like to see what what's a different look for it. What would you? So it became more interesting. And then they did a good job too anyway. But even if they didn't, I was telling myself, well, like just kind of like being open-minded, saying like, well, what can they do different? Or if they do it the same things, can they do it better? All those things. So I always enjoy like horror movies. It's fine, dude. Like you can make all the remakes you want, dude. Because there's so many possibilities. So
exactly. I mean, like just because they made it the first time and it didn't do well doesn't mean like about the fifth time down the road, several years down the road, I'll be 90 years old and they make a fifth remake of the same damn movie of like Child's Play or something like that.
They're remaking Predator again.
Yeah, remaking Predator or who knows what. I mean, it's still interesting to see like different versions, more different artistic versions of characters or creations or stories of whatever they had, and I look forward to it all the time. Anytime they say there's a new remake, I'm like, oh, okay, well that's neat. My first thought is that I want to check that out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like when they remade RoboCop, I was like, well, that's cool because I try to see it as like what's good about it. It's like, well, fuck, I love RoboCop, so that movie's still gonna be there, but they can make it better with better, I'm saying graphics, but better, effects and shit. And they did. I didn't like the story, nowhere near as much, and the actors, but it was like, oh, it's cool, fuck it, But yeah, I don't make a big deal like Chris would, right, Chris?
Well, it's not. That's the problem. Is it's so extremes. It's so dichotomous. It's the whole the argument gets framed in terms of either you're okay with remakes or you're vehemently against remakes. No, the issue isn't should or shouldn't there be remakes. The issue is if you're gonna remake a decades-old movie, do a good job. Number one, and number two, do not push your bullshit fucking political social agenda down people's fucking throats. That's the next thing.
Man, he's tough as hell tonight.
Oh, for example, let me give you a couple examples. The Freddy and Jason remakes, the 2009 and 2010 Freddy and Jason remake, those were good remakes. Those were excellently done movies. I thoroughly enjoyed them. Those were actually my first Freddy and Jason movies I ever watched at all, and I thought they were great, and they did a good job, and they didn't.
When people heard you say that, Chris, they were like, "Oh, I'm not gonna listen to a fucking word this guy has to say."
Okay, well, that's just one man's opinion. But then the other problem is, then you take Cape Fear. Now we all know Cape Fear, Nicolas Cage, Robert De Niro, great fucking film, and that was a remake, 1992 remake of a 1963 movie.
Did you say Nicolas Cage?
I'm sorry, not Nicolas Cage. Nick Nolte. I'm sorry.
I was like, man, he's already got buzz like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry, not Nicolas. Sorry, Nicolas Cage. Nick Nolte and Robert De Niro, and they both did a fantastic job. And it was a 30-year remake, and that was fine again. But then you take fucking Ghostbusters. This one they did last year? Fucking horseshit.
Like 2016, sucked. But okay.
Yeah.
Or a few years ago, it fucking sucked. It was horseshit.
There's like a decade later and shit. Yeah.
The whole gender bender.
Yeah, he's trying so hard to push that women can be the ghost. Okay, what the fuck ever. But that's the thing. If you're gonna remake a movie, do a good job and don't push an agenda down people's throats. That's all I'm saying.
I like the idea they were going with it with gender bending and give it a different view. So I was pretty excited about it. But then I all that comedy in there was just like, oh man, I don't know. I enjoy like certain comedies, and even when they splash in some jokes. But I mean, that whole thing was just flat out, just seemed like a straight up comedy, kind of like what is it? The one with the screen. They did a comedy version of it.
Scary movie, right? Yeah.
Scary movie. Yeah, it's all obvious. Scary movie. Then
What's
yeah,
that
same
scary
thing.
movie that they make fun of scary movies, and he starts winking.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, yeah. Oh, damn it.
Anyway,
But yeah, I mean, same thing with that one. It was hard. It's hard to watch, or some of those kind of movies are kind of hard for me to watch, anyways.
well,
But,
when I first saw I'm saying a scary movie. We'll probably do a scary movie review. Wink, wink. We'll probably do like a movie. We'll probably do a review on the movie Scary Movie. Yeah, just for shits and giggles one of these days. But when we get back, we'll go ahead and start talking about the super condensed Halloween Resurrection, or at least our version. So we'll. So for the more for the movies that are like a lot more fun, real intricate shit going on, like the Omen shit like that. We always go scene by scene, but today we're just gonna spitball it and bullshit. Talk about Halloween Resurrection, I guess, in its three parts: the beginning, the middle, and end. And for me, when I first saw this movie and Laurie Strode dies right away, I know a lot of people. Like they see that as like, oh, that's fucked up, and I was like, hey, well, like you just mentioned Scream a while ago. I was like, oh wow, I didn't see that one coming, and I mean the whole movie's like stupid, but I like laugh at it. Have y'all seen them? Well, I guess I know Chris hasn't seen it, but have you seen the movie The Room, Gabe?
The Room.
Yeah.
I can't say I have. It doesn't sound familiar.
If you should watch, a review on it, because I don't think if you actually see the movie, I mean you'll get it, but I don't think anyone wants to sit through that movie. It's one of those movies to where it's so bad that you kind of like laugh because it's like just a movie that's made. Well, the guy that's acting in it is the director also, and he just got some money and shit. He was like he's fairly wealthy enough to make the thing, and it's so horrible, and it's like this just you're just laughing at it. It reminded me a lot of this movie. I was like, man, this reminds me of The Room, to where like
wait, my wife is saying she's seen the movie.
Oh, yeah. So she knows. Isn't it cringy and funny?
You didn't like it, babe?
You broke my heart, Lisa. All that shit. Like it's just like. It's just bad acting, and it's just like they're just like their scenes are they're just throwing a football for no reason and shit. It's just like funny. They're like on a rooftop throwing a football, but they're like 4 feet away from each other. So it's it's like these guys don't know what the fuck. Like this movie reminded me of The Room, where like when Busta is getting the people that he's gonna put in the haunted house, and the guy's saying he's like Michael Myers isn't just some serial killer. He's a legend. Or he's like, it's just like, oh my god, these guys are like the writing was bad, but the acting was probably worse. But that whole beginning, I like that shit too. I was laughing at one of the patients that like there's like jump scares like nonstop on this film. I mean, I'll get into it more, but I want y'all guys to talk a little bit about the intro. Gabe, what did you think about that whole security guard screaming like a woman and all that shit?
Oh man, look, as this whole beginning, it kind of got me all kind of riled up because when you're watching the beginning of Resurrection, I was like all intense into it. I was thinking like, all right, man. That's it. How did Michael Myers survive? How did what's going to happen? What happened to Laurie Strode? Did she get locked up, or what's going on? Where are they at? Well, you find out she's in this damn mental facility, this asylum or of some sort, sanitarium. There you go. And It's so crazy because like yeah, you're right. The damn goofy security guards. But you know what was interesting was that damn mental patient. The mental patient is like what was like getting to me. He's like it was a mental patient that was like wandering the grounds that they had to go and get him, but he starts spitting out like interesting facts about like serial killers. Like he seems like all knowledgeable. Like he's oblivious to like the world around him. Other than he seems to be like a walking book of like horror facts or a serial killer. And so this guy, he's like spitting out like he's okay, he's got this clown mask. He's I'm John Wayne Gacy from 19 blah blah blah, and he starts spitting out all these interesting facts.
He's like Chris, right? Like when Chris is telling you like all the actuals of something.
Not aware of the world around him, but knows all this random information.
Yeah, there you go. He's full of that stuff. And that guy was like a kicker, so I was thinking like, okay, well, they got the weird guy in here. They always have one in every damn movie. You always have that one weird character that, you got like these weird, funny parts, but this is like where
he stood out.
Kicked off.
Yeah, he stood
out from among it. Anyways, it follows up later on, and you find out that Michael Myers is there again. But before you end up finding Michael Myers is there, it catches up, and you find out Laurie Strode's in that hospital, that sanitarium, in that same hospital where that, the crazy guy is. So here, she seems all, what's the word, like, kind of comatose. She's just kind of sitting there in a daze. They said I think this is already 3 years after the events of H20. I think it's 3 years already after that. And so at that time, they said, they have to give you a background history. So there's two nurses talking to each other, and and one of them is a new nurse. She's like a new worker there or something. And she's all, okay, well, they're giving her like a breakdown of saying, well, you didn't hear about what? Oh, I'm sure you're going to hear about it. Just tell me. Oh, they give a brief backstory. So basically, Michael Myers ended up surviving. How did he survive? Well, at the end of the first one, H20, Laurie Strode ended up cutting off what seemed to be Michael Myers' head. But you find out the way he survived is that Michael Myers isn't just like some random walking around serial killer who likes to stab people. No, this guy, he's pretty damn clever. He actually switched bodies, didn't switch bodies, excuse me on that one. But earlier in part one, he ended up getting in a fight. He lost the fight, he was knocked out. So when paramedics came and the cops came, he ended up killing one of the paramedics, and he switched uniforms. And he put the mask on the paramedic. Well, anyways, as they were loading up the body and taking off, series of events happened where all of a sudden they were in a car wreck, and the guy was trapped between this car and this tree. Laurie Strode had an axe, and she's like, oh shit, fucking Michael Myers. This is my chance. The guy couldn't scream for help because they said his throat, like, for your vocal cords was crushed. So he's like trying to reach
or whatever it's called, yeah.
Yeah, his what was it? Larynx or something?
What is it called, Chris? Larynx?
Yeah, the larynx, yeah.
Yeah, so they go ahead and off with his head. So anyways, they end up finding out that was not Michael Myers. That was damn paramedic. And
that's why she's in that motherfucker, yeah.
Yeah, so now they're saying like, oh, because of this crazy event, it messed her up. It messed her up. Now she's horribly scarred. But secretly, they give her these pills, and it's supposed to kind of calm her brain or calm her down, her anxieties, her PTSD, and all that other bad stuff. Anyway, she hasn't been taking it. She's holding a teddy bear, and she secretly, once the nurses walk out, she spits out the pills and sticks them in there. And she's been doing this for 3 years, so that teddy bear is full of damn pills. Anyway, she looks out the damn window, and who does she see?
I laughed at that whole beginning scene because that's trying to be like part one, but it's like it's the most cheesy thing. Is like Michael looks like shit, And then like he busts through the fucking door, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, well, it's the big show. She's got like, I was laughing because I was like, why is this patient out in the middle of the night and shit? The one guy with the clown mask, and then Laurie's got a whole trap set up on the roof. I'm like, what kind of fucking facility are they fucking running here that where all this shit's going on? And there's only 2 jackass security guards. Michael gets in, no problem. I'm like, this movie is just stupid right away, dude. Chris, I know you have your, what the fuck? Did you laugh at the beginning of this movie at all?
Yes. Did you think I didn't?
I guess that's the gist of his review. And it's just,
yes. I would go.
I laughed.
I would go further. Except the thing is, like, it would be kind of giving away my final analysis of it. But it's like Gabe.
Funny enough, I'm gonna take Gabe's line. Rick Rosenthal, dude, he's the director from Part 2, and he's doing this one. Can you believe this is the same director as Part 2?
No.
Chris is like, whoa, this fucking Truly's hitting hard right now. But so the whole story about this is they're trying to get people or teenagers that are 25 and 28 to go ahead and go into it's like a Busta Rhymes thing is like he has like a paranormal kind of deal where they go to houses or haunted houses and they record them like with point of view. The thing is this his first time doing this? Because they're like, oh, we got these, and I'm like, well, if this was this thing that your gimmick, wouldn't you have all this shit already? I was kind of confused on it. I may have been wrong.
But isn't that a truism of life, though? You get all these guys that hard sell someone on something, and they themselves probably really don't have a lot of experience in themselves, but they're trying to make the deal happen because they stand to gain a lot.
I guess I thought he was already that was his business, but I guess it must have been his first kind of deal doing it was like Tyra Banks in there, and
thing that they're trying to bring into.
Yeah.
This I was like laughing because like when they're setting up and this is like the whole movie's like this. Someone's getting killed and they're either laughing, they don't believe it, or they're like doing something and they have to show the other person in the other room or nearby that's dancing or doing something else, and while the other person's getting killed. Like almost every kill, I don't know if y'all noticed that, is like that. Like when Tyra Banks like making coffee or something, and the camera guy, it's on camera for her to see, but she's too busy like dancing, so she misses it. And I was like, oh my god.
She was making a cappuccino or something, right?
Cream on the cappuccino and shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. Like the first time I was like, okay, all right, it's fine. But then, we're going through the whole movie, and the whole movie's like that, and then everything's over the top. Like when they're doing those interviews, like I talked about earlier, the main girl, I don't even know her name, but she's hot. She comes out on Bosch, and she's fucking. The light falls down, and she just does this ridiculous yell, and I'm like, who the fuck would yell like like that? Fucking for a thing falling down. I was like, oh my god. So this is like 15 minutes into the movie. I'm like, oh, we're in for a treat, today when I was watching it, dude.
Yeah, it's so weird, because I guess what bothers me about this damn movie, I guess all that little quirkiness, and like you said, there's a bunch of ridiculous things throughout this damn movie. But in the beginning, exactly like what you were saying, like the whole first 15 or 20 minutes, you already Michael Myers succeeds and he kills off Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
So then, what does he do from then on? Like
he goes back home. He just goes back home. He's like, fuck it.
Yeah, he does. And
Charles and George Marathon and get drunk.
The what?
I said, fuck it, let's go home and let's watch a Charles and George Marathon and get drunk.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Well, he was eating rats, but I mean, close enough. Yeah, he goes home. He's living in the damn basement. And apparently, he's been there for a while because I guess he knows how to cook rats and stuff. You find this later on in the damn movie.
He's got barbecue sauce and everything for him, dude. I was impressed.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of shit down there, and he's just living off in the basement.
Oh, you know what? It's funny because then like they open up the cupboards and they was some kind of spice and they're like, it's fresh. So Michael Myers is like cooking shit. He's really.
And the dude threw that shit in his face and it like neutralized him somehow.
I don't know what the fuck that was. Yeah.
In comparison to like part 2, where he took a gunshot to the damn eyes, but he was still attacking, but yet he took some spice to the damn face, and all of a sudden he's like, he seemed to be kind of, it slowed him down quite a bit. I was like, shit.
That's the constant with this movie. This is not the same Michael Myers from previous movies. It can't be, dude. Like Buster, we're jumping ahead, but Busta Rhymes kicking his ass. Like, can you imagine if, Dr. Loomis was doing that shit at the end of part 2? How funny that fucking shit be. It's like
fucking Dr. Loomis couldn't touch him without a fucking gun.
Exactly. That's how low they've brought Michael Myers at this point. Of course, it would cause the Rob Zombie to get a crack at it, and like it pissed me off that they even went to H20. I mean, we're talking about this one, but I mean, I didn't like. Of course, when you start that H20, it's like, where do you go from there? And at least Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, they were like, well, we know he's done all this. How about we try and give him a story and go into a different direction? And like, a lot of people hate that movie. I thought it was a pretty cool movie. I thought, like, it was more interesting. At least he was, in a dark setting. This one, it's just kind of like, well, what's in nowadays? Let's throw in the Blair Witch found footage type gimmick, and there's it's like, okay, so it's like they really had nowhere to go.
Live in a house,
Yeah, it's like, we're gonna record y'all in a haunted house, and it was just like, okay.
Yeah, this whole idea that that Busta Rhymes had, or I guess like the big bosses ended up having, is that they wanted this to be more, because at that time more reality type deal, like road rules, real world, fear factor. They had that whole where you're walking around with the damn camera and you're trying to, you want to see what they see, and you're just trying to get that whole live action. Even this pissed me off. Well, it didn't really piss me off. I was just like more like disappointed. But remember the damn young kids that ended up getting invited to a damn senior party. But they said, like, no, I don't want to go to the party. I said I was going to watch this thing tonight. One of my friends, or the love interest or whatever. I said I was going to watch it online. So they're playing around on the computer, but his friend's like, dude, this is a senior party. We gotta go. We're freshmen. We'll be cool from now on. The girls will be hot. We have to go. That whole spiel. So they end up going, and so everyone's drinking at this party. Everyone's having a great time, and leave it to the dork. He wants to go ahead and go online, so he finds the computer. So he starts looking up shit, and he's watching it. All of a sudden, here comes this, this random couple that I'm assuming just met at the party, and they're going to get it on. And then all of a sudden, they're like, no, I want to watch this thing. I don't want to get it on anymore. I want to watch what's online.
Never's happened in the history of man. That I do tell you. So
exactly. I'm like, what the hell? That would have pissed me off. I would have been like, I would have kicked the dork out. I'm like, hey, man, get out.
Get you and your stupid machine out of here.
Yeah, so at this point, before you know it, the whole crowd, they all got sucked into it, and they're just watching this damn computer trauma that supposedly murders. Everyone had their doubts, but all of a sudden they start realizing that it's no longer Busta Rhymes, in a mass running around. It's Michael Myers, so he's killing everybody left or right. The hero, the main girl, who didn't want to be there in the first place, who actually changed her mind, she actually ended up saying, "Hey, we need to get out of here." Busta Rhymes just trying to help her out. This other guy that also kind of, I guess he kind of liked her, I guess, in a way, also tried to help her get out. They were all trying to get out. Anyway, they all end up dying, except for the main girl. She's winning, and she's all clumsy as shit by the end. She ends up in the damn garage where Tyra Banks was, where she ended up getting murdered. So this girl ends up wrapping herself out. She ends up starting a fire, but then she trips over some cords. I kid you not, she's wrapped up in the cords. She is just like wrapped up. Like, I don't understand how difficult it could have been just there's a killer right there in front of you.
Yeah, the kills were pretty shitty in this one. They were all kind of like you already knew what was gonna happen when the funniest part, though, that you're mentioning that, there was like one scene where somebody runs downstairs to the basement, and then it looks like a sewer. They got some kind of fence that has like spikes or something, because that's how Michael kills her, and he puts her through it. And I was just laughing. I'm like, oh yeah, the fucking Myers house is connected to the fucking New York City fucking sewers or something. I'm like, it's like, did these people it's just so gimmicky. They try to make the house inside the house literally looks like the way Freddy's house does, like in part 4, when they really put it over, you know what I mean, where they got all the craziness and all that, which I love, by the way. But here it's all like bland colors, not the greens and reds that came out on part 4. I don't know if there was any memorable deaths in this film. I mean, the only things that stood out to me were when Busta's dressed up as Michael Myers, and I was like, man, that mask that he's wearing looks just as shitty as the mask of the past few films, because it's you could see in this one there's like a lot of digital bullshit going on with the mask, and I'm like, man, this mask is horrible. Like, Busta's mask looks like shit, but the real mask, or the Michael Myers one, doesn't look that much different, anyway.
And that's something I thought was something that they let loosen up after the first one. To be honest with you, was in the first one, you can't see any eye skin or surrounding facial eye skin of Michael Myers. That mask is fucking golden perfect. Mm-hmm. And then just movie by movie by movie, they liberalize it, loosen up, and they're not taking care. And it's just he becomes more real life, more human. It's just like it fucks it up.
Yeah, the way that you see way too much, of his eyes and skin, and I just don't like this Michael Myers at all. I mean, Busta Rhymes, I know people will be like, "Oh, this movie's so stupid," which it is, but at least he makes it funny with him coming out of kicking down doors and just stupid shit. But yeah, I think the first movie, it's pretty slow. But man, the way, like you're saying, they don't, Michael's driving in his car, you just see from behind him. You really don't even see his mask yet. You just see his shoulders and shit. And when you do see him, you don't see his eyes at all. Just perfect. This one is Michael's walking around, the place just like some jackass, and it's just like, oh my god. And the kills are pretty. They're pretty. Fucking. There's no imagination. It's just him kind of coming at people with the knife, and then he's going slow motion. It is just like, all right, man. All right, time to get Rob Zombie in this one.
Yeah, honestly, I have to agree with you. There really was no imagination. Like, one of the kills, he ends up killing, I forgot her name, but he ends up killing her on top of the stairs, and he cuts her head off, with a clean swipe. Yeah. And so all the main heroines are all down at the bottom of the stairs, and they see him, and they think it's Busta Rhymes again, and he's all like, no, he just goes ahead and throws that girl's head down the steps. And I was like, really? That's what he's doing now? He's antagonizing them?
Yeah, because they're not buying it. So, of course, I mean, it's funny too. You're gonna have to try better than that, Freddy, and all that shit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I was like, what the hell are these people doing? But yeah, like you said, damn, Busta Rhymes for me, that it's the only really good takeaway from that, because Michael Myers just wasn't doing shit. He already accomplished his goal. We feel fulfilled already that, the whole point was killing Laurie Strode. Now he did it. Now he's eating rats out of the basement. Now we're watching the real world cast trying to survive. It's so out there.
That's exactly the best way. That's the best way to put it. The real world cast meets Michael Myers. It's like some Scooby Doo episode. You know what I mean? It's like let's put let's put a bunch of people, up against like an icon, but and then they do it, and it was just the worst. They did the actors and all that shit were bad. They made Michael look stupid. If they would have given him some seriousness, they would have made him his mask look good. All that bullshit. Actually have better actors, better just everything. Hey, I'm always down for a Michael Myers movie, but this one wasn't it, dude. Like I'm shitting on it, but I'll be honest with you, bro. I probably like it a little bit better than H20, dude, just because of Busta Rhymes making me laugh, dude. That's the only thing I have to say about that.
He's not the literary master author that LL Cool J is, though.
Oh, for sure, yeah. That motherfucker didn't do shit, but just get jump scared the whole movie, LL Cool J. So, I guess Chris, we'll let you go first, dude. Give your overall thoughts, your anything you want to say, and give it a how many shots out of 10, dude.
Overall, there was no need for this movie to be made. There's no reason for it, and they had to really reach to rationalize how Michael Myers is still alive. And you know what? I'll be insulated here. I'll take something I love. I love G1 mid-'80s Transformers, okay? And they did the same thing with bringing back Optimus Prime back to life in Season 3. They did the same shit. They reached and figured out a way to rewrite the history of story they'd already told. All that shit. Okay, but you know what? Everyone wanted to see, in 1987, people wanted to see Optimus Prime come back to life and be back on the show. In 2002, and today, and probably in 2002, no one gave a flying fuck. Who was dying to see another fucking Halloween sequel, okay? If anything, do a fucking remake, okay? But this is just, it's like, the franchise should have just ended in 1998 with H20. And another thing, what is with these fucking Halloween movies being made in July and August? Like, this one was released July 2002. H20 was released August 1998. Can we not at least keep it in October?
I know, right? Keep the festive, keep that whole festivity alive, right? Let it go in October. I agree with that. They should have done that.
I know, it's called Halloween, for fuck's sake. I understand not every horror movie is going to be in October. That's fine. But here's one called Halloween that every single sequel in it has taken place in the fall, for fuck's sake. So here's my thing. When I first watched it, I was rolling my eyes every minute of it. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Why am I losing 2 hours and a half of my life that I'm never going to get back? I get it a little more now. It's not so stupid now, but it's just like, I'm just saying, I'm going to be nice and give it a 4 out of 10.
Man, you really shit on it. So, man, 4 shots out of 10. Gabe, go ahead, man.
Oh, man. Pretty much, I'm right there with Chris, man. I'm everything he said. He took the words out of my damn mouth.
He was like a judge. He was like a judge heading down a sentence to some kind of like child molester. Dude, like if you were shit then, you're shit now. Hope you rot in hell, and I'll fucking see you in the afterlife. And go fuck yourself. Like fuck.
And say hi to Stalin.
Oh man, I kid you not. It was It's not a good movie. The only reason I can only assume that, Chris even gave it the 4 is just because of the Busta Rhymes. That's each point was just for a joke or something funny or whatever Busta Rhymes did.
Every good Busta Rhymes scene in the movie, 4 of them.
Yeah, that was it. And that was all 4. And honestly, I'm right there with him. I don't know if that's his reasoning, but that's going to be my reasoning. Every point is going to be just for the Busta Rhymes. So I'm also giving it a 4. That it's not that great. It's not.
Well, I'm glad we all agree. I was gonna give it a 5 because I was like, well, but it's not even like an average horror movie. So it's like to say that is like is like a disservice to films that are like, they're okay, because this is one of those films to where, yeah, it deserves like a 3 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I think it's, really, it's a horrible movie from start to finish. The beginning, like, it's like one of those that I put it on and I was literally like laughing as soon as I see Loree look outside. You see Michael with that stupid ass look on his face, like just standing there and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this stupid shit? I was just like cracking up. I'm like, this is ridiculous, man. And Loree dies, and I was just kind of like, okay, I kind of knew that was, I knew that was gonna happen already when rewatching it. But then, like, you got that one guy, like we were saying, who's just like, Michael Myers, first he killed his sister in 1969, and then they're just like, oh my god, why is he doing this? The cops screaming like a girl, when, it's just like, not only was this like a bad idea, Michael looks like shit, but just everything about it is just like, you took a classic, dude, a classic, film, and a franchise, and they really, shit on this movie, man. They're like, dude, let's just get some more rappers. Let's see what, what's in, and let's just make another movie. And the reason why, Chris, the reason why they made this is because H2O did so well. With Mustafa Akkad or whatever, the guy that got the rights after, I think, 3 or something like that. That motherfucker could not say no to making money off of the Michael Myers, thing. So, yeah, one did, or H2O did so well that, yeah, they had to do it. And it's like, man, they didn't give a fuck what kind of film they were putting out, as long as they were going to make some money, and it shows, dude. So I wish they would have, seen this shit. And I mean, I'm not a fan of H2O. I know a lot of people, like, that's like their top 2 or 3, and that's cool. But, like, I really would have loved them to continue that Cult of Thorn kind of shit and, move forward. But, yeah, man. So, anything else to add before we go, guys, for this one?
I have nothing other than that's a terrible movie.
I mean, they made their money, like you said. I mean, on a budget of what, 15 million, they made 37.6 million. By my math, that's about 150% profit.
Yep, that's a couple of my dollars are in that pot. So,
yeah.
Yep, I contributed to that garbage, and that was my fault. I'm sorry.
I contributed 18 years after the fact by buying it on fucking Amazon Prime.
Chris is all pissed off. He has Resurrection on Prime. I gotta see that fucking movie every time I log in now. What the fuck? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll go ahead and see y'all on the next one.
Man, you gotta be shitting me. That mother's strong.
Peace.
Peace.
Don't call us. We'll call you.